And a lot of people ask, how do you get into SEMA? Everybody thinks that it's this big top secret event that only certain insiders can go to. And I'm here to tell you that is correct. Hey, Kirk Curtis coming at you from the Full Octane Garage, and I went down to my mailbox today, and today is a happy day. I had this envelope in the mail. And where's it from? It's from SEMA. So, these are my credentials for SEMA. And I'm really excited to have these because the trip is coming up, and the dates are going to be from November 5th through November 8th of this year, 2019. And a lot of people ask, how do you get into SEMA? Everybody thinks that it's this big top secret event that only certain insiders can go to. And I'm here to tell you that is correct. Well, actually not so correct. SEMA requires a couple of things. You can be a business that goes to SEMA in the automotive industry. So you could have, to get credentials, you have to have a tax ID or a business license, and you also have to produce a real copy of a business card. So those are really the easiest criteria to get into SEMA. The other thing you can do is if you are employed by a business, and we'll say employed, could be you get a paycheck from a business, you have a business card from an automotive business, and that owner of that business is willing to sponsor you to come into the event as one of their employees. That's a little harder, a little more challenging. So, how did we do it? We have Full Octane Garage as a business. We registered it several years ago when we did a Battle of the Build car for SEMA. And so we have continued to keep our registration active each year. We can renew it each year and continue to renew as a business for Full Octane Garage, so we qualify. Full Octane Insurance, an insurance company would not qualify, so we go in as Full Octane Garage. You can also qualify as media, and it's a little harder to qualify as media. There are two items that you have to produce. A YouTuber could probably find a way to get in. It says a YouTube video related to Apex and SEMA or the automotive industry. So, Full Octane Garage is a YouTube channel, providing we get one more of these items. The other item is a copy of a published editorial in an automotive journal of some sort or automotive publication. So we do have Full Octane Garage website. I believe we might be able to publish an article on that and produce that for them. Web links to those articles, again, a website, so that may be another avenue. Now the downside is if you sign up as media, and you're going to need a business card for your business and showing that you are in the media business. So the downside of that is you cannot get your credentials pre-mailed to you like we did. So you're going to have to do the cattle car round when you get out there and produce the documentation when you get out there, show evidence that you're actually with the media, and you would get media credentials that would allow you into Apex and SEMA. And a lot of people, and I was very confused my first year out. I got to thinking Apex and SEMA were kind of one and the same. And so my first stop, to my disappointment and waste of a half a day, was to Apex. And I would say if you're a car guy going out to look at car aftermarket products, that's SEMA. If you are a manufacturer or you are a large corporation looking to buy 1,000 light bulbs or 1,000 license tag brackets or 100,000 tires or something of that nature, Apex would probably be your best place to go. So automotive manufacturers would go there to work with overseas providers to get headlights for cars, to get anything that is a smaller type article, not typically aftermarket stuff. SEMA is really the aftermarket place. That's where all the cool car builds are. That's where all of the, a lot of the car celebrities that you're going to see are actually going to be at SEMA. So I'm going to crack open my envelope here and see what comes in my credentials. Now, something that's interesting also is a lot of people ask, where do you stay? How do you go? What are the ins and outs? And so, as I predicted, I am a SEMA buyer. So that's the good news. On the back of this card, it actually shows the schedule of events, when to go. So SEMA is going to open Tuesday, and it's going to go through Friday. Oh, I take that back. The schedule is the New Products Showcase Happy Hour located at the Sky Ridge. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I have a complimentary pass to get into the New Products Showcase and a happy hour. So we'll see what kind of hors d'oeuvres and treats we might run into. This is having me as a builder, fabricator, and converter, full octane garage, Brentwood, Tennessee. So I will get a better lanyard to hang this on. This comes with my thank you letter, and it does come with registration hours if I was to happen to forget my pass. Now, what we've found in past years, if you order your pass after a certain cutoff date, you have to pick your pass up in person. There are hundreds of thousands of people that go to SEMA, and there are hundreds of thousands of people that wait to the last minute and also may have lost their pass. That means you go get in line with those thousands of people waiting to get your pass. You're going to waste valuable time that you could be walking around the 36 miles of floor that you're going to have to see, which you will never get done in the 4 days that you're going to be there. So it looks like the exhibit hours start at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, November the 5th, and they go through 5 p.m. On Thursday, November the 7th. Take that back. Oh, SEMA, that's Apex. SEMA goes through 4 o'clock on Friday, November the 8th. Now, what's really cool after that event is there's the drive out. So you're going to see people driving out at starting to drive out after 4 o'clock. There's a big parade that goes across the street to the SEMA Ignited show. We also have an invitation to go to the SEMA Ignited show. Unfortunately, our flight's about 7 o'clock on Friday, so we are going to miss that this year. This tells you a bit of important information, show policies, things like that. They're always open to you bringing your cameras, taking pictures. There is a show map of what's in all of the buildings. You do want to really look at this closely because there's some buildings you may not want to see. Example, there is one building and one whole floor, which is huge. It's nothing but tires. If you want to talk to some Chinese manufacturer who is going to sell you a container load of tires, that's the place for you. Unfortunately, I am not looking for a container load of tires, so that is not for me. I'm going to strike that off my list. I'm not going to waste any cycles going through that. There are other exhibit halls that are very interesting. There's a whole section on trucks and Jeeps. There's a whole section on automotive performance. And you're going to want to go up and down all these aisles because each of these vendors have had somebody build, or most of the vendors have had somebody build a really cool custom car that's going to be displayed in their booth. Now, part of that requirement is if that car is displayed in their booth, it has to have parts that they sell. So that, at least that's been in past years. When I had a SEMA build, if I was going to be in the Holley booth, I had to have Holley gear on my car. So that's going to be really important. Now, there are builders that position cars outside the perimeter in SEMA, and they do get accepted to go and display vehicles out there as anywhere from home builders all the way to very custom builders like Vegas Rat Rods will display some out there typically. So that's a really, really cool thing to do. Now, something that I wanted to bring up is a lot of people talk about, okay, so now I'm at SEMA, I've got accepted. Now, that's the hard part. Now, how do you get around and what do you do out at SEMA? We have learned over the past few years that it's always best if you can either stay at a hotel that's walking distance from the SEMA Exhibition Center, which there aren't a whole lot of nice hotels in that area that are reasonable. So I'll call this our budget hotel, because you're not going to spend a lot of time in the hotel. You're going to be walking all day long. By the time you get back to your hotel after you've had dinner, you're going on a crash and get ready for the next day. So don't think about getting the Bellagio. You're not going to need to stay at the Bellagio unless you take your wife who wants to stay at the Bellagio. So fortunately, I'm going alone this year. Well, unfortunately actually, but fortunately I can go cheap. So I have elected to stay at the Excalibur. The Excalibur is across the street from the MGM. Now what's real important about the MGM is the MGM is on the end of the monorail line, the rail transit that you can jump on and take and ride past a number of hotels to get to the SEMA show. And what's really cool about being at the end of the line at the MGM, Excalibur, New York, and even the Paris isn't too far away. You can be the first to get on the monorail, so you're going to get a seat, you're going to ride all the way, because as it stops at each stop, that monorail is just going to continue to fill up, and when you get to some spots, it's going to be so full that you can't get on and you're going to have to wait for the next rail, which you may not be able to get on, you wait for the next rail. So, why I'm saying this is pick a hotel at the either end of the rail and you're going to probably have the best experience. Now, also, most of these hotels, there is a hotel site on the SEMA site that you can pick your lodging, and it will tell you is there bus transportation from the hotel. What I've found in the past is sometimes the buses will stop at multiple hotels. They won't just stop at one hotel. So you get kind of put on the cattle car line and you'll make it back eventually. You waste time. So in not wanting to waste time, I ride the rail. Now we've learned a little bit of a secret on the rail. And this is a secret that I'm probably going to get beat up by my friends about, but the SLS and Sands Hotel is on the other end of the rail. That's a good hotel to stay at also. But since there's only one or two hotels on that end of the rail, what's really, really cool is if it's really crowded to get on the rail going back toward the MGM at night, well, what you want to do is get on the rail to the SLS Sands Hotel. There's rarely a line. You get on that rail, you go 2 or 3 stops up that rail, that same rail turns around and comes back the other way, and now you are first in line to get on the rail. You're not waiting through the hundreds of thousands of people to get back on that rail to get back to the Excalibur, MGM, New York. You could also Uber around. We haven't really tried Ubering. I suspect it's going to be a real challenge to get an Uber with that many people in town for this event. If you get the opportunity to go to SEMA, whether you are a business and you qualify yourself to sign up, or you have a good friend or an employer who is willing to sponsor you and get you into SEMA, this is a bucket list thing to do. Once you go once, you're not going to want to stop at that. You're going to want to go again and again. I tend to go about every other year because I usually have some conflicting events at the same time. This is my year to go. I can't wait to go see it. I can't wait to see all of my friends who are going. There's a ton of people here from Nashville that are going. There's people from other parts of the country. Our normal guy, Supercar Dan, he's down in Texas. He and a few guys are going to meet us there at SEMA. So we're going to have some really cool stuff to do. If you have questions about it, we're happy to share what experience we do have. We've gone 3 or 4 times. We're by no means the expert in it, but we are certainly experienced in it. So we look forward to seeing you at SEMA. We look forward to you coming back and hanging out with us at Full Octane Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And below, let us know if you're going to SEMA. Let's see if we can meet up while we're out there. We look forward to it. See you at SEMA.